Annie sat staring at Diane in shocked silence, wondering if she was having a bad dream and not wanting to believe what she'd just heard. Diane had cancer? Annie suddenly felt like she'd been transported back in time when her mother had sat her down to have a similar conversation. Annie didn't know what to say back then, and now she was at a loss for words once again. What did you say to someone who's just told you they have a life-threatening illness? Sorry? That word seemed so insignificant during moments like these. Just like asking if there was anything you could do. What could a non-trained person do when a trained professional like Diane was helpless against the dreaded illness? Diane! Annie swallowed down the tears burning the back of her throat and fought to squash the anger for the unfairness of it that had started to boil inside of her. I don't know what to say, she admitted. Everything that's run through my head doesn't seem to fit the situation. She took Diane's hand. What kind? When did you find out? Are you going to get treatment? Her eyes widened. Does Hannah or Jake know? Wow, Diane gave a nervous laugh. Slow down with the questions. Diane took both of Annie's hands in hers. If you let me explain, I will tell you the whole story. I'm so sorry about what happened between Tom and I. Annie's guilt and disgust at how she'd been harboring feelings for her best friend's boyfriend tore through her. I swear to you that it meant nothing. I know he loves you. Annie, stop. Diane gave Annie's hands a squeeze. If you keep quiet for a few minutes, I can explain and answer as many of your million questions as I can. Sorry. Annie pulled a face. You know how I get when I'm in shock, nervous, or afraid. I know. Diane smiled at Annie. I'm sorry I kept this from you. She took Annie's hand in hers once again. No one but myself and Tom knows about it. Her words were softly spoken, and her eyes fell towards the floor. You didn't tell Hannah or Jake? Annie's eyes widened in surprise. No. Diane shook her head. I couldn't do that to them. She looked at their linked hands. At first, I wanted to keep it quiet until I knew for sure. Hannah was so excited about this new degree and finding her soulmate. Jake has struggled enough trying to settle back into civilian life after the Air Force, and had so much going on. Diane, they are your family, and you need their support at a time like that, Annie said. I would have dropped everything to get back here, you know that. I know, Diane nodded. How and when did this all happen? Annie looked at Diane. Her heart ached for her friend, and she had to fight to hold back the tears. She couldn't believe her best friend was now fighting the same disease her mother and Diane's mother once fought. She could remember the struggle like it was yesterday. The memories still haunted Annie. They filled her soul with the gut-wrenching guilt of being completely helpless to help them in any way other than showing support. 6 months ago, Diane told her, I went for a usual annual checkup, and my doctor called me to ask me to come in. I did, and they ran more tests to find I had ovarian cancer. She swallowed and looked at Annie. It was in the early stages, but I was going to need chemotherapy and a hysterectomy. Oh, Diane! Annie couldn't help the tears that spilled over her eyelids and splashed down her cheek. The day I found out I had to have chemo and the operation, I was so shocked. Diane sucked in a shaky breath. I was sitting on the bench outside the hospital staring at the rose garden when Tom appeared. Annie's heart jumped at the mention of Tom's name, making her feel guiltier than she already did, and the worst friend who ever walked the earth. He asked me if he could sit down because he was waiting for his mother. She had to go in for eye surgery, Diane explained.